So you do brows and you do removal. You do removal. Those are your two things.
My two things.
Soon to be brows removal and eyeliner.
Yes.
But for right now, brows and removal. So do you prefer putting it in or pulling it out? Do you have a preference?
I don't have a preference.
You like them both the same?
I like them both.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, both can be equally gratifying. Like, you know, one is more, okay, so removing is more like I can relax a little bit more, you know.
Yeah. Is that a nice way of saying it's a little boring?
No, it's not boring. No, it's not boring because there are still things that you have to be paying attention, obviously, while you're doing it. But it's not like...
You don't have to design. You don't have to pick color. You don't have to worry about skin undertone. Like there's
it's
a
little more like straightforward.
It's a little more straightforward. Yeah. It's more technical than artistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, like I get to relax a little bit more. And I always say, like, with one, it is gratifying, like, at the beginning of the service, and the other one is, like, at the end. Because with, like, removing is, like, towards the beginning of the service where you tell the client, like, don't worry, we're going to fix this, you know? Like, we're going to remove the pigment. And when you see, like, their face of, like, relief, you know, they're like, this is going to be, like, fixed. I love that. And the other one is like the wow that they get at the end when you show them the result. And they're like, oh, I love my new brows. So they are gratifying both, but it's like different.
In different ways. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I enjoy both probably equally as much too. Putting it in, you know, doing eyeliner is probably a little more challenging with the design and picking pigments and all that stuff. But removing is a little more technical.
Exactly.
For me. But I enjoy it because it's exactly what you said. It's like you're really helping out a human. You're really helping somebody. Not that we're helping when we give a pretty pair of eyebrows, right? Whether it's a little bit of extra time in the morning, or you make them feel a little more secure about themselves, or they can go swimming and not worried about their eyebrows. For whatever the reason someone chooses to get a makeup procedure tattooed, you're helping them, you know, on a level.
Yeah.
But when you cross over into corrective work, you know, and you're doing removal, and you're correcting like a really badly done pair of eyebrows or eyeliner or lip, it's deeper than that, right? It's deeper than that. Do you find?
Yeah, because like I said, it's more like you're relieving them. Like a lot of them, I don't know, they don't want to leave their houses.
Yes.
Or, you know, it's like causing like some like psychological damage, if you want to call it that way. Like,
no, that's a good way to put it. It absolutely does. It causes mental and emotional anguish for a lot of them. I had a client, she got fired.
Wow.
Because of brows. Yes. Her boss actually fired her here in Vegas.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they were big, thick, like almost black eyebrows, a horrible shape. And she got fired.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the only time I've ever come across that. And it was just so sad, you know, and me too. I've had, you know, hundreds of removal and correction clients over the years, and some of the stories are just heartbreaking. Some of the things you see on their face are just absolutely heartbreaking.
Sometimes they already have a lot going on in their lives.
Yeah.
And on top of that is like a procedure, like an eyebrow, like, or lips or something that they didn't like.
Yeah.
So they come and they tell you like everything that's going on in their lives. Plus, you know, and now I hate looking at myself in the mirror. So it's just like, well, at least with this one thing, I can help them.
Right. This one area of your life, I can step in and I can help you.
Yeah.
And even though for some, it's a long journey, you know, I mean, we use Lift. Sometimes with Lift, it can be one session. I mean, even with a solid deep brow, I mean, sometimes we get lucky and it's literally 1 or 2 sessions. We have so many examples of that on our Lift Instagram page. But in other cases, it can be the same kind of saturation, same kind of look, and it will be 7 or 8 sessions, you know?
Yeah.
So I learned not to judge and try to predict how many sessions like a
Yeah,
long
no.
time ago.
Mhm.
Because it's weird how removal works. So if you find that, because sometimes they can come in and it can be really low saturation and look really sheer, and in my mind I'll be thinking, oh, there's hardly no pigment in there. It's going to be one or
Mhm.
two sessions. I'm going to
Yeah.
get this out. And then that's the client where it's like 6 or 7 sessions. Like, this shit just won't
Mhm.
fucking lighten,
Yeah.
right? And then I can have a client come in the next week and that pigment is solid and it is packed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be like 8 or 9 sessions. I do one session and I see them back and I'm like, oh my, what?
A lot is gone, right?
Like
Yeah.
80% is gone, or
Mhm.
sometimes almost all of it. And you're like, how did that happen?
Mhm.
So like in my course, I always teach, don't even try to predict,
No.
and don't lock yourself into how many sessions. Like,
Don't promise anything.
don't promise
that you
anything.
don't know if you're gonna be able to.
Yeah,
You know?
no. I tell in my course I teach, say like 1 to like 8 sessions, and on average it's probably around 4, I guess, on average.
Mhm.
Maybe
Mhm.
3 to 4, but in a lot of cases it's 7, 8, 9, 10, and in some cases it's 1. We just never know. I
Mhm.
think it might depend on the type of pigment used. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying whether it's organic or iron oxide, but maybe the quality of the colorants. Are
Mhm.
there chemical or there or anything else in that pigment? Because not all pigments are tested and are clean and
Mhm.
safe. If it was, some pigments contain things that shouldn't be in there.
Mhm.
That's why testing is important. It can be skin, thickness of
Mhm.
skin, oily. There's
Mhm.
all kinds of outside variables, I guess, that can
Yeah.
affect like the
How
timing,
fast?
how fast
Yeah.
we're going to get it pulled
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the hardest part of removal, is keeping not just your client patient, but staying patient as the one doing the removal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I
Mhm.
get so disappointed when I'm not getting results quick enough. I get so disappointed. And I try
Mhm.
not to show that to the client,
Yeah. No. Of
right?
course. Yeah. No. You wanna like encourage them to like keep doing the procedure, because eventually it's gonna like get lighter and
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
for certain. And I don't, and I think saline can actually be
Mhm.
quicker and more effective than a lot of lasers.
Yeah.
A lot of lasers.
It doesn't leave any scarring, which I love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like on the skin. So that's what I love about it. And if they wanna get anything done again, because a lot of people, what they want is like get rid of the ink and then they wanna like do something
Do
again,
something
right?
again. Yeah.
So I love that it doesn't leave any scarring. That's
Yeah.
kind of like the main things that I love
Yeah.
about it. Mhm.
No, if you got good technique,
Yeah.
your techniques and the lift
Mhm.
solution is not going to cause any scarring. But
Mhm.
sometimes there's scarring left behind from the previous
Yeah,
technician. And you
Mhm.
don't always see it because there's a bunch of crappy ink covering it up, and
Mhm.
when the ink starts, when the pigment starts to remove and lighten, sometimes that's when you see, that the scar tissue
Yeah.
underneath. Sometimes like you don't really know what's under that pigment that you're going to be removing until
Mhm.
you start removing it. Have you found that?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
it has happened.
it
Yeah.
has happened. It's like, oh
Yeah.
God, it's
Yeah.
like,
You start getting like those like red lines, from like
yeah.
the blade. You
Yeah,
start finding
yeah,
them, you're like,
yeah.
oops.
So it's almost like an unveiling. Like you just
Mhm.
don't quite know, because sometimes
Mhm.
they come in with like solid pigment, like a ton of
Yes.
pigment, and
Mhm.
you don't know what that skin looks like under that pigment until you start
Mhm.
removing it.
Mhm.
But um but most of our cases are super successful, and you can end up putting them in a brand new brow, and everybody ends up happy, and
Mhm.
those become your best clients, your most loyal clients. Yeah.
Yes. Mhm. Mhm.
So you think every single PMU artist, if you're doing PMU, should learn removal?
I think
Yeah,
yes.
I do too.
Mhm.
100%. I do
Yeah.
too.
I think it is like a tool that everyone should have, right?
Yeah.
Like it is like almost like having like an eraser.
Yeah.
So like as a more or less like as a newbie PMU artist, I'm like, I think everyone should have it. Just
So if you make a little mistake on your
yes,
own client as a
exactly.
newbie,
So like it's like, and if you're experienced, just so like you can help more clients, right?
yeah,
Because a lot of people, they don't want any more ink, they want to erase it, right? That's why
right.
they need
Right.
So I think it is like an amazing thing to learn,
Yeah.
to have like a more complete.
100%.
Mhm.
That's how I came up with emergency removal. Yeah, because of my classes. You know, I was just doing classes like crazy, and sometimes your students make a mistake.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you can't let the model leave with a mistake.
Yeah, no.
No, I mean, you got to make sure your models leave with pretty work, even though it's students or newbies working on them. And I used to have a bottle, you know, I used to have saline, man, like saline. And then when we developed lift, you know, it would be lift. They'd make a little mistake and I'd go rub, you know, some lift on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there'd be a little red spot, you know, and we would just like tell the model, you just got a little red spot. You broke a capillary. Nope, you know, no more. I'll heal out. And the pigment wouldn't heal in. The little mistake the student made wouldn't heal in. And so, you know, it's a whole story. I don't want to get into it. It'll take me too long. But that's how I came up with emergency removal.
And it is like, I wish I would have known about it when I did my first model. That was my mom.
So you messed up your own mom?
Yes. She was my very first model. And that's why I ended up learning removal, because I was like, okay, I botched her eyebrows. Now I need to fix this. How am I going to fix it? So I was like, removals. I need to learn how to do removals.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. So I guess that's why it's like when you see newbies like ask like on Facebook, you know, posts like, okay, I'm going to be doing my first models. Would you recommend I book strangers or like a family and friend? And it's always like mixed responses. Yeah. Someone will say, oh, you know, some people, you know, say family and friends because you're comfortable and you know them. And then some people will say, oh, hell no, not family and friends.
They're going to hate me forever.
It's like you're going to, if you fuck up, you're going to have to look at it. And they, you know, strangers. But for me, I don't think it matters, you know, whether it's family or friends. I think it's like there's always the potential of, you know, making a mistake and not doing your best job, whether it's a family or you know, friend or a stranger. So
but now I know that also if you're like with a good mentor, right? Like it is hard to completely like to make a complete disaster, right?
You know,
I was left alone like halfway, no, not even halfway, like 30 minutes into like the procedure.
Oh no. Oh no.
And I was like, what am I supposed to do?
No, that's not cool. You can't do that. You can't do that. Yeah, no, I'm not going to let you girls make a mistake. But sometimes it's, you know, I've had mistakes in my classes because sometimes it's beyond our control.
Yeah.
Like I have a nanosecond, like, you know, to stop a student or a newbie, or even like you and Ren yesterday going too high or pulling something out too far. I mean, you guys could do that before my hand could get in there and stop you, or I can speak up and say stop. Do you know? So sometimes sometimes trainers don't. We have so much control in preventing mistakes. So even with the best of trainers, you're gonna have little mistakes, and I say little, keyword little. You know, I've never had any big mistakes. Never.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really none that I can recall anyway. You know, but you do get these little mistakes. You know, but they're fixable. I'll sit down and I'll blend it in, and I'm not gonna let anything bad happen.
No, and mine was, it was my first powder brow, so it was on my mom, but it wasn't like a teacher or anything. This was a coworker. She's super nice, and she was like teaching me what she knew. So I was like, it wasn't like, you know, like actual training or anything like that. She was my coworker, and she taught me a lot, but it wasn't formal training. And from there, I realized two things. One was like, okay, I need to learn removals. And the second one was like, I'm not doing powder brows on anyone until I get like formal training.
So does your mom have pretty brows now?
Yeah.
So you're back in the wheel. Yeah, you're back in the wheel. Yeah. Okay, good. That's good news.
Yeah. And she's like super cool. So
is she gonna let you do eyeliner, or is she like, oh no, I've been there once, Sophia?
Oh no, she's gonna. I'm now removing her eyeliner.
But you didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
That's another story. It was like way before I was doing PMU, and
So you're removing her eyeliner. So once it's all removed and she's good, well and healed, she's gonna let you do her eyeliner.
Yeah, she's like, wow, you have to do my eyeliner.
But Taryn must be there.
Yeah.
Right, Taryn must be there.
Yeah.
Or you have to have 20 under your belt, and I need to see it. Yeah.
So I wouldn't make her go through anything like that again.
That's funny. Well, at least it was your mom, but it still sucks, right? It still sucks no matter who it is. It's just like, oh, I know.
You feel so bad.
You
like,
do.
That's not what I wanted to do.
No. So let's, so anybody out there listening, if they want to learn removal, we teach lift. We teach all the, the great techniques of removal. You're a great trainer. You teach lift. If they want to come here at the Girlz Inc. studio and do hands-on with you, it's basically a 1-day hands-on class. We book them some models. They do hands-on with you, and we upload them to the Lift online course, right? And we upload them to the Lift support group on Facebook, which, Olivia, you run that. And we have is it about 3,000? We have like 3,000 techs.
Wow.
That have taken our hands-on classes, online classes, and they're all on there. And it's a really active Facebook support. It's super active, right? I mean, it's constant posting and mentoring and support. It's a great group. So, so you can, hey, so reach out to Girlz Inc. if you want to hook up with Sophia and get some hands-on training in lift removal. It's a great service, and it's a great service to add to your current list of services, because you don't make as much money. We don't charge as much for the service of removal, but what it does, what I found is it does help build a clientele, because once you remove a bad eyebrow on somebody, right? It's like you save their face. And in a lot of cases, you saved, you saved them. They look at you as like, wow, I mean, you really helped me out. Yeah. You put a beautiful pair of brows on me, and now they're going to be loyal to you, forever. And then they tell everybody about you, even if they don't choose to get new brows. Maybe they're too afraid now. They just want you to do the removal, and they're like, no. I don't want brows, and we do get that. Like they're just too shy now. They had a bad experience. They want them off their face, and then they're not ready to step in.
Makes sense.
Right. But sometimes in time, it takes time, then they'll come back. But even if they never choose another new brow, they become such a great source of referral for you, because you're the one that helped them. You're the one that removed that bad eyebrow. And they just they just look up to you, and they'll refer you to anybody asking them about a good PMU artist. They're going to refer you. So I find removal clients become a great source of referrals.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so it will help you build your clientele. So I encourage everybody, if you're a PMU, but I do think, how long do you think, let me ask you this, and then we'll get ready to go off, but how long do you think a PMU artist should be out there tattooing brows before they learn removal? Because removal is a little bit more advanced. You got to know your needles. You got to be good with depth. You got to be good with technique of implanting before you remove. So do you have any opinions on that?
I would say probably after your first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like ready.
Yeah. I would say like 1 to 3 years. And I think it depends on their skill level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always tell, we'll get asked, well, how long? I've been doing PMU, brows for a year and a half. Do you think I'm ready? And my response is always, you're ready if your depth is on point. You have control and precision with that needle in your machine. You understand skin and implantation, and your procedures are healing how they should be healing. You feel confident. Your work is good. And that's 1 to 3 years. Everybody's a little bit different. So I think when those skills are on point and they're very comfortable and confident in that, then they're probably ready to learn removal. Yeah.
So at least like 1 year,
a minimum 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's the very least. And I think there's probably a low percentage of people maybe
that
ready
before that year they're
yeah,
like ready to take
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. I think
Mhm.
people are more, there's probably more people ready around the 2-year mark,
Mhm.
unless they're in a busy spa and they're full time and they're
Mhm.
seeing clients every day.
Mhm.
You know, if they're
Mhm.
part time and they're seeing one client a week, are they ready in a year
Yeah,
to
it
do
can be.
removal? No,
Mhm.
because they haven't had enough time on skin. For me, it's all about how much skin have you been on, your time in skin
Mhm.
and your skill level.
Mhm.
And so I don't think there's really so much a time per se. It's it's how many procedure, you know, how many brows you done, your
Mhm.
time in skin, and your skill level. You know,
True.
yeah. So
But also that's why when we have them here at the studio learning,
yes,
we like really want to make sure they're like learning and you
yeah,
know
yeah,
taking
So-
everything in.
yeah. We've had
Mhm.
people that have quit PMU and done nothing but removal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know, but hey, there was a lot more things that we wanted to talk about, and we did not get into. So I wanted to talk to you about like your technique with brows because it's really unique, and I think it will be really super interesting for our listeners to hear how you work an eyebrow, because I was kind of shocked the way you do an eyebrow. I'm like, I have never like really met anybody that did an eyebrow the way you did. So I think what I would like to do, let's wrap it up, and let's have you and Ren on like
Oh, that would be
together. I
fun.
think that would be
Yeah.
fun because you and Ren, if you both do, you know, really beautiful, that more modern Instagram-y kind of eyebrow, yet you both do them like so different,
Yeah.
super different techniques.
Mhm.
And that fascinates me, and I love it. So I think it would be a great conversation with me and you, Ren, on here, talking all about brows, needles, techniques, and all that. Are you down for that?
Yeah, I'm down. That would be
Okay.
super cool.
Cool. All right. So hey, thanks for coming in today and hanging out with me.
No, thanks for the
And
invite.
talking and
Yeah.
sharing. Yeah, I think this was a great episode. I think people are
Mhm.
going to love it. It was great. All right. All you out there, thank you for hanging out with us today. And as always, stay in the pursuit of happiness and have a great weekend. We will see you next time.